Oh my gosh. Oh, I was like, I was frozen again.
Okay, I'm gonna go in there and make it on the Facebook side. And play some music. Say what? Okay. Okay. We not own the rights for this song? Yeah? Okay, okay.
Feels like magic. With you it happens all the time, so I'm making you mine. I love it when I'm with you. And I'm not ashamed to say it, girl. I'm telling the world how I'm feeling, saying feels like magic. You got me all soft singing the song, cause you know it's on when I'm with you. Let's make it happen, you and I. Watch the years roll by, cause I know you're my bright light at the end of the line. And I'm your brave knight that'll ride at your side. So let's go, don't wanna get left behind. Go see, you shall find I got nothing to hide. You're my cherry on top through my ups and downs. And I'm your friend you got when others don't come round. You know, not in a rush, I'ma do you slow. The song's not for the ears, but the heart and soul. You're my sunshine, rainbows, pot of gold. And I'm your warm touch, yo, when times are cold. You're my good luck charm, only good things unfold. My sweet little road, you're my bright light at the end of the line. And I'm your
Alright, that was
brave
too
knight
loud.
that'll ride at your side. So
Sorry.
let's go,
You say,
don't
like,
wanna get
you just
left
say we're waiting for her
behind.
to
Go
join,
see,
right?
you shall find I got nothing to hide.
Okay.
You're my cherry on
So
top
we're
through
right
my
now we're
ups
having
and
some
downs. And
technical
I'm your friend
difficulties,
you
so we're
got
just
when
waiting
others
for
don't come round. You know,
people to
not
get
in a
back
rush,
online.
I'ma do you slow.
We had her on about 30 minutes ago, so when she gets back on, then we'll start
Sunshine,
the
rainbows,
podcast.
pot of gold. And I'm your warm touch, yo, when times are cold. You're
Thanks,
my
man.
good luck charm,
You're
only
welcome.
good
Thanks
things
for reminding me.
unfold. My sweet little rose,
Okay,
just
people.
letting you know.
Yeah.
With you it happens all the time, so I'm making you mine. I love it when I'm with you. And I'm not ashamed to say it, girl. I'm telling the world how
So
I'm feeling,
sorry.
saying
Oh,
you
yeah.
got me all
Yeah.
soft singing the song.
Okay,
Cause you
I had to
know
rush home because I ran out of data.
let's make it
I am
happen,
so
you
sorry.
and I. Watch the
Can
years
you
roll
hear me?
by, 'cause I know
Yes,
you know.
I can hear you.
Yes, you got
May
me
you wanna
saying
play
things
some
that I
music?
wouldn't say.
Yeah.
I'm not the type
Yeah.
to
Got
talk,
it.
but how I feel.
Yeah, can you hear us?
Hold on a
Sure,
second.
and when you're gone,
I am trying to
somehow you bring the sun my
turn
way.
off my
Oh,
card
wait, you're
connection.
my
Just
lead.
a second. Jeez
Okay.
Louise.
Whew. Sorry.
I am so sorry, guys. I was like, hey, I lost you. And then I was like, oh, I'm out of data. Like, rushed home. So I'm sitting outside my house right now,
Okay, okay.
trying to connect to my Wi-Fi. Okay, let me move up a little bit so I'm out of the sun. Okay, perfect. I am so sorry. Okay, I'm ready now.
Okay, got it. All right. I'm just gonna change the real quick to all right. Okay, so we are going to start right now. Talofa, and welcome to exciting episode of In the Hot Seat, where we highlight the inspiring journeys of Polynesians making an impact in their communities and beyond. I am Leaso Filoyali'i coming to you live from Katy, Texas.
In Talofa, I'm Lena Famuina, residing in the 808 state, Hawaii. They say it takes a village, so we want to recognize the ainga that makes it all run smoothly with Leaso and I. We have Eileen Tumalu monitoring Facebook and Fufui Petelo monitoring YouTube. Please feel free to stay engaged by dropping your comments or questions and chat with us to keep it fun. Just wanted to give everyone a heads up. I'm reading comments via text messages and screenshots, so I'll be multitasking and looking off screen here and there, but I'm definitely paying attention.
Today's guest is someone I have so much love and respect for. She's from Nu'uli, American Samoa, a proud Tafuna High School graduate, and a true definition of hard work and faith. So without further ado, in the hot seat, we have Sisifo Ta'atiti.
Hi,
Yeah.
everyone. Thank you for having me. I am here in American Samoa. I'm from Nu'uli. Like Leasa said, my name is Sisifo. I am married to Anthony. I've been married for 21 years, and we have 2 children. We have 2 girls. I have an 18-year-old and a 5-year-old. And so life is fun. We live in American Samoa. We've been here for about 2 years, moving back from the States after living there for 15, almost 16 years. Coming back home has been a journey. So yeah, it's great to be here and to be on this podcast with you all.
Yay. Well, thank you so much for being on our podcast. It's you're actually the first one we've ever you're the first actually outside of our Leone High School, and we open it out to the public. So thank you for doing that for us. Sifo, let's get started with the questions. What have you been up to after high school?
Yeah,
Well,
so
actually,
like,
before you start, sorry, I'm sorry. Before you
it's
start,
okay.
what did you do right after high school?
Okay, yeah. So, like you mentioned, I graduated from Tafuna in 1997. Prior to that, I actually was in the military. Well, my dad was in the military, so we traveled a lot. I was born in Germany, raised there for a while in my childhood, and then when I was about 11 years old, we moved here to American Samoa. So I went to Manulele Elementary, Tafuna Junior High, and then Tafuna High School. So yeah, so after high school, I graduated when I was 17, went straight to college after. I went to BYU in Provo, Utah. Never been there before. I just knew that I wanted to get far away from American Samoa at that point, at that time. And so I found a school that I thought my parents would be okay with me going to, a church school, and I left. And I went to BYU for 4 years. When I left Tafuna, I was dead set on like being an engineer. I loved math, science, and all that stuff. So, um, I had plans to be an engineer. I went with the purpose of doing that when I got to BYU. But then when I got there, it didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to be, as that happens sometimes. And so I ended up like changing my major a couple times, looking at different math, related majors. And then somebody introduced me to the field of social work, like a class. And I had never heard of that before. Didn't know what social work was, but it sounded interesting. They did volunteer work. They went and worked with like, troubled youth. And I was like, hey, that's cool. I'd love to do that. So I took a class in the beginning of my junior year in college. I took a class, an intro to social work, and that like changed everything for me. And it was such a shift from, like technical, mathematical focused, programs to like total people oriented, a people oriented program. And so I was like, I don't know why, but this just speaks to me right now. So, I ended up switching over, got into that program, and then ended up getting my bachelor's in social work from Brigham Young University. So, yeah, so that's what I did right after high school. Graduated there in 2001, and then moved back here to American Samoa. So, I don't know. Should I
Yay.
keep going? I don't know.
The
So,
shift from, oh, sorry.
go ahead,
So,
go ahead.
the shift from how you're saying you're into math and what have you, right? Those usually you're, not as outspoken or you're right, you're very oriented, right? Task oriented. And so the shift, was it hard to transition from being, a math major into social work where you have to reach out and speak to people? Was that a hard shift?
That's actually a really good question. It wasn't a hard shift because I am pretty social just in general. And I found like growing up, I always had friends who, you have friends that come to you and you're kind of like that one that everyone comes, they want to share and they want you to get, they want your advice. And I just didn't know there was a career behind it. Like you know what I mean? Here in American Samoa, they don't talk about that. We don't take psychology classes in high school at that time. I don't know if they do now, but like, it just wasn't something that was introduced to me. And so, yeah, when I got out there, I was like, man, this is like I can do this because I naturally love talking to people. You know what I mean? And I naturally like helping people. And so, yeah, totally left, the math world, switched over to that, but I found that I could still like bridge both worlds because I ended up tutoring. So I ended up doing like tutoring math to some of the kids that were in like lockup or in juvie. So yeah, it ended up working out. Still using kind of the skills that I loved, but in a field that I loved more. So
Nice, nice. Sorry, we have a question online already.
oh sure.
So,
Oh
what
awesome.
what challenges have you experienced moving back to the motherland? Occupation, family obligations, village and
Yeah.
Matai system, future plans, and how to benefit the community.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's a loaded question, but a great one. I actually my husband and I get this question all the time. So let me give a little context to our move back here. So, we were living in Utah for the longest time. We moved out there from here back in 2007. And right away, I started working in the government. And prior to that, I was a government worker here as well. And so I've been working in government for over 20 years. It's kind of, I'm just a government junkie. And so, our decision to move back here was kind of multifaceted. We were looking for a place to bring my mom. We took care of my mom basically after, we got married. She lived with us and she developed lung cancer while we were in Utah. And so we were looking for a place that had better weather. So we were looking at all over like Texas, Hawaii, blah, blah, blah. And one day I just kind of had an epiphany, like, just go home. Like, go home. Like, you have a house there, you have land there. Like, go home. The weather's there. You're at sea level. So that's what we did. That was part of our decision to move home. We totally came like on faith. We didn't have any job prospects. My husband is in the IT field. And so, he had a great job in Utah. I was working for the government, very steady, but we decided, you know what, let's just go on faith. We feel this is the best decision for us. We sold our house and I told my husband, we'll use the profits to upgrade my parents' house so we can live in it. We'll buy a car cash so we don't have to worry about monthly payments. And then we'll just kind of feel our way, from there. So because I have a lot of government experience, moving back was a little bit easier for me to get a job. I got a job with the governor's office pretty much right out the gate when we got here. But with my husband also had got a job offer as an IT manager with one of the government agencies. So I was telling, others that have asked me, the job prospects are there. It just depends on what you're looking for. So obviously ASG is one of the biggest, employers here. So if you have like a specialty, they're always looking for something. Like, so for me, it's in grants, federal grants. I've overseen federal grants for a long time. And so that was kind of like my niche. And so that's kind of how I got in. But it just depends on what you're doing professionally or what your skill is. Now, with that being said, we found that another great opportunity here is building your own business. If you have a business idea, this place is like, I don't know. I don't even have the words. It's an amazing place to start a business. They make it very easy for you to start an LLC just to kind of get started. If you have a business idea, whether it be in the food industry or in the service industry, let's say, I don't know, if you have a background in doing tax preparation, like come here, create an LLC. The clients are there. Government contracts are there. So last year we made the decision for my husband to step away from government and do his own business. And that was like the best decision we ever made. So we have kind of, both things going on. I'm still in the government, but he does his own thing, running an IT solutions company. And it's been pretty amazing. Not everything is, not everything is, rainbows and unicorns, obviously. When you have government contracts, they take forever to pay. I mean, that's just a given. But if you're a service provider, you can get private companies, to contract with you. We have several contracts in the community and it just works. Like, so yeah, I mean, if you have a skill, I would even say, like, if you or your spouse has a skill in carpentry, that is huge need here. Anything to
Carpentry. Okay.
electrical, plumbing, you know, all like those specialties. What we're finding right now here, and we kind of learned the hard way, was that um, you kind of go off of just who you know to come out and like do your electrical work, or you know what I mean. Come and put up my drywall, but there aren't a lot of certified, sorry, not a lot of certified professionals. So if you're a certified professional or you want to be a certified professional in one of those areas, I would definitely recommend getting a certification, coming here, starting your own business. Like this place is amazing for that. And then obviously, like if you have your own land, you know, and you have family ties here. I personally, we live. I didn't get to say this, but I'm from Nu'uli. My dad is from Nu'uli, part of the Fanene family, and so we live on communal land. So we all know what that means. We do falavilaves and things like that, and it's fine. It works out for us, okay. But there's always opportunities to build on, so that you don't have to be in that kind of environment. But yeah, anyway, just kind of went on there. But yeah, I mean, I would highly encourage anyone who wants to come here to come and check it out. I mean, I highly recommend it.
So I really appreciate you mentioning it because we talked about earlier before we started the podcast. But I believe Lena has a question for you out there.
Um, oh, so what's the most Samoan thing about your childhood in Uli?
What's the most? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. What's the most
What's the most Samoan thing about your childhood in Uli?
Samoan thing or
Like what you get to
annoying
do?
things?
Yeah, it's a Samoan thing.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so where we live, as when I was growing up, when we first moved here, I was like 10, 11 years old. So we lived super close to the Lions Park area swamp, and so my cousins and I would go out there and play kungange over there. So that was probably the
Oh,
most Samoan thing. Yeah, just like
nice.
right there by the Bala Lagoon. Yeah. So yeah, that was probably the funnest thing. And then obviously, hide and seek under the fa'i trees. Back then we didn't watch TV much. It was all about being outside and playing with cousins and friends, and yeah. So yeah, I loved it. And that's
Nice.
probably one of the reasons why like I wanted my kids to experience this too. Um, when we moved back, my older girl was just gonna start her sophomore year, and so I thought, you know what, this is a great opportunity for her to come and to experience going to high school here, experience being around cousins in Samoa, experience getting friendships here in Samoa. It's just different, as you guys know. So.
So I'm gonna read something that was sent to me in Messenger, and this is for you, people. When
Okay.
we were little, our family home evenings. So when we were little, our family home evenings would go one for about 2 or 3 hours, because my dad just talked and talked and talked. So then Sifo would say something like, "Dad, we get it. You've said it a million times already." So I can imagine your dad, his face when you said that. And so she said, me, Mani, and Nephi, who is her sister and her two brothers, would just look down and mumble under their breath about why she said anything. Then family whole evenings went on for another 2 hours because dad had to lecture Sifo and the rest of us for being Fiopoko. Tell us about that. Because
Oh, so this probably goes
we
back
have
to
family prayers. It goes on forever.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, it's probably why I became a social worker, to be honest with you. I'm all about like social justice. If I see something wrong or hear something wrong, I'm always like, I have to correct this. So yeah, that's probably a bad thing, a bad habit back in the day. Got lots of beatings for that, but yeah, I mean, I had to stand up for us children back in the day. It's kind of one of my traits, but I will share. I will share that, after I finished BYU, came home, I went on a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I served a mission in Mississippi, Mississippi and Louisiana. And so while I was out there, you know, about 3 months before I finished, my dad passed away here in Samoa. And so, you know, that has always been something that I look back on because I was 22 years old when I decided to serve a mission. Usually people go or girls go at that time. It was 21. But I didn't have a desire at that time. The desire didn't come until I was 22 years old. And sometimes, you know, like for me, you don't see things clearly until it's in retrospect, right? So for that, I was
Yeah.
like, I know that, you know, we have a loving God. Like we have a loving Heavenly Father. Not to make this a religious, you know, session, but I know that He's very mindful of all of us. He's mindful of me. Um, and just like He knew that I needed to be out there serving people, and not here, you know, during that passing. So yeah, I don't know why I thought about that. Probably because you brought up the story and just like everybody knew I was the favorite. So
Yes.
it was just, hey, that's no secret. So, you know, just thinking about, you know, where we need to be in life and where God puts us. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. Sorry, I warned you guys.
No,
This is like a thing that I do.
Amen, sister. You don't have to be sorry about anything. You know, we appreciate that you're able to be vulnerable with us and honest and straightforward. So, you know, it's nothing to apologize about. And, you know, there are some subjects that are sensitive and that, you know, and like you said, you can't help it. If you were the favorite, it probably hits another spot in your heart.
That's right.
Traumatized.
My siblings will watch this and be like, yeah, you know, whatever.
you know, I'm going to add something real quick. I was laughing because one of the comments that was sent to me was that Mani was your mom's favorite, you was your dad's favorite, and Nephi and Sulu was their own favorite. So poor thing.
Probably true. I know our parents denied it, but we all knew. So too funny.
Uh-huh.
These they're
We have a
funny.
question on here that asks, what are benefits of having an LLC in Samoa and how can others duplicate your success in their fields of interest? And someone says, love you, Sifo.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So with the LLC, it's super easy. Oh my goodness, I can't even believe how easy they've made it here. You apply online, right? And you can start up any business can be an LLC here. And the benefits that we've seen, I mean, the the tax system here mimics the tax system in the States, right? It's just
Okay.
when you're filing taxes, they look at a different. They use the figures from a previous tax year. That's the only difference. But in terms of tax law, if you're familiar with doing, you know, businesses in the States, if you have an LLC in the States, it's pretty much the same thing. So when
Mhm.
you're filing taxes, you know, you can just, if it's a small business, you just file it, you know, under your personal taxes. So
Uh-huh.
but the benefits, honestly, is it's super easy and super cheap. So when you can go online, if you just Google LLC American Samoa, the LLC website will pop up. You register, pick a name, you know, and they'll let you know if your name is already taken or whatever. And then you just follow the process. It'll tell you exactly what to do. Once you've paid for your LLC, which is about, I want to say about 150, which isn't bad at all. So you pay for it, emails go, Treasury gets it, and then they send you an LLC certificate in your email. You don't even have to go in. Everything is super easy. They send you a certificate in your email. Boom, you're good to go. You're legal now to operate as an LLC. The second thing you need to do is go online to Department of Commerce. You can apply online for your business license. Same thing. And the business license is about 150 as well. So all in all, it's about $300 just to get started. And then boom, you go. Do your thing. And so yeah, the benefits are honestly you're your own boss, right? And if you've identified a gap, a need, um, I have a friend who also was a graduate of Tafuna High School, probably.
Oh.
He moved back just recently as well. He came back with his certification. He's a journeyman electrician, and
Mhm.
he has to like deny people service. Like he can't meet all the demand now. And so, yeah, if you have a specific skill and you know that there's a gap here, which there are a lot of gaps, you will be successful. I promise you that. Yeah. And I'm happy, like, if you want to send me, questions, my background is also in workforce development. There's a lot. There's a lot. Anyway, my background is in workforce development in Utah. And so looking at gaps in the workforce is kind of what I can do here. So yeah, if you shoot me a message, I can do some research for you and kind of tell you, if what you're interested in doing here, would be likely to be successful. If there's a gap in the industry, I can let you know that. So
So,
Nice.
Sifo, I got a question on the LLC part. Do you have to be
sure.
a local in, do you have to be resident local in American Samoa? Can you be in America and also have a license there? Good to
Yes.
know.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, if you Google LLC American Samoa, there's like a website that says the benefits of owning an LLC in American Samoa, and it lists everything. Like you just yeah, you can actually own an LLC from wherever you are and like have a local partner, you know what I mean? That helps you with the local business side of things. But yeah,
You
yeah.
know, the other question I
People
have
do it all
about
the
the
time.
LLC, just yeah. Do you
Mhm.
need to have like your do you need to have like your Matai signed off from any of those paperworks?
Um, so no. Short answer is no.
Okay.
When you submit your application in the Department of Commerce website, they have a platform that you use to submit stuff. They will ask you like if you're going to be running out of your home or like renting somewhere, you know what I mean? And you
Mhm.
just have to provide a map of where you're going to be located. And that just comes from Public Works. That's probably the only thing you have to do. Call Public Works, have somebody email you a map of where you're going to be located, and that's pretty much it.
So, Sifo, Lena, sorry, was there something you wanted to ask?
Oh no, I was gonna just say before we move on to like present and future, I wanted to know if you have any teachers at Tafuna High School that you would like to recognize or pay tribute to. Going through the school system in Samoa and then leaving and being successful and being prepared for college life. Are there any teachers that you'd like to shout out?
Yeah, I do actually. I've always loved math, as I mentioned before, and so I had a teacher who was a great mentor to me. It was Tupuola, Antonio Tupuola. He was a teacher at Tafuna in the 90s and into the 2000s, and had a great influence on me. Um, he just taught math in a way that I understood, and he's the one that made me love it. So yeah, definitely huge shout out to him. He's passed, since then, but yeah, loved him. I also probably a shout out to Ruth Tofinga. She was my chemistry teacher, and then later became a principal at Tafuna High School. Obviously, I mean, she was successful too, making it all the way up to be a DOE director at one point. But
Mhm.
yeah, she was a passionate teacher. When I look back, she definitely stands out as one that went above and beyond for students and really wanted people to understand, the students to understand what she was teaching, and I totally did. So yeah, shout out to her. So many good teachers at that time, but definitely those two stand out for me. Thanks for letting me do that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Sifo, going to you attended Tafuna High School. Your daughter's there now. What was it about Tafuna High School that you had really enjoyed being a part of?
Yeah, the Tafuna in the 90s is not what it is today. Back then, I mean, let's just be honest. Back then, it wasn't like known as a good school. I mean, that's just plain and simple. Our student body were very ulavale, and we were kind of known as the, if you get kicked out of another school, take them to Kafuna kind of a thing. But But as we all have pride in our schools. I mean, obviously, I love my high school. I loved everything about the experience there. I was very active in student body. I played basketball a couple of years. Active in like math competitions and things like that. Just loved the experience. Had great teachers, as mentioned before. And so, but I think for me, and this is probably for you guys too, I'm sure, just the connections and the friends you make, with your classmates and other people that, you go to high school with, you never forget those. Like once you're friends for life, and I find that like I come back and it's weird to go pick up my kid from school and I see these kids walking around. I'm like, I know your dad, I know your mom because you look just like them. You know what I mean? And it's like so weird to see kids of like my old classmates or people that I went to high school with. And but you see people around on the street and it's like you just pick up where you left off. We're obviously older and
Yes.
more gray, but yeah, it's just cool, like coming from such a small place and being able to see people again and reconnect in that way. It's been awesome. So I wanted that for her, and I feel like she's getting that. So,
Hmm. So what type of student were you in Tafuna High School? I was told you're a very focused,
oh my
laser
gosh,
focused type of student. Goody good girl.
I I was yeah I'm not gonna say I didn't like boys and stuff like that. I mean that's just not true. But I was more of a admire from afar type of
There you
person.
go.
Like I wasn't in your face like, hey, I like you. Nah, that wasn't me at all. But I was very laser focused in school. I love school. To be honest, like if I could get paid to just go to school, that would be a career to me. I love college. I loved everything about it. Yeah, I love learning new things, and so yeah, school was awesome. I loved it. So,
We
but
have a
yeah, that was
comment.
me.
We have a comment on
Yeah.
here from Sulu Penarosa. Hi,
Oh
Sifo.
gosh.
I love you. And David says, love you, Sifo.
Oh, thanks, guys.
So,
Love you
Sifo,
guys.
you gotta tell me about this whole trip that you went to Vegas and how your mom covered up for you when your dad was waiting for a phone call every Sunday when you were in college.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this, just to be clear, like, so Vegas is only about a 4-hour drive from Provo, Utah. And every time I went to Vegas, it was not to go and hang out, right? I was going because somebody needed something. So one year, I had a friend who was stuck down there. So we did like a back and forth trip over the weekend just to go down, pick her up, and bring her home. And so, yeah, it just happened to be on a Sunday. And my dad was like trying to check in on me, but we had a rule that I would never leave the state. So we had this rule, this that I couldn't drive out of the state. And so every time I did, I would tell my mom, but I wouldn't tell my dad. So that's where that story comes from. I had to do it twice. Yeah, I went down and brought a friend back, and then I had to go take a friend and drive her car back. So those are the two instances. I was not ka'a, and I didn't go to Vegas to be at the casinos or whatever. No, no. Those are the instances. But yeah, we had to keep that from my dad. Yeah, he was
It's a good thing
crazy.
they didn't have GPS at that time.
Right, right. Or like tracking,
Life
Life
360.
iPhone
tracking, life
tracking.
360. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes. Oh no, girl. I think I would have been like, he would have been calling me off the chain. He'd be like,
Like, where
"Where
are
are you?
you?
I see that you're." Yeah,
Yes, you left the state.
Yes.
yes. He would have had that on lockdown for sure.
Hulu, I know your mom passed away, was it a year ago? And
Yes.
it was really hard for you guys. And I know that you guys missed her and your dad very much. How was that for you as being the oldest daughter, having to come back
Yeah,
home to
yeah. That's a great question. In fact, today is actually the day. So today, a year ago, was when she passed.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy to think about. We were talking about her earlier today and kind of sharing with my siblings, but um, you know, when she developed lung cancer, she had just beaten breast cancer. We were so happy. She had breast cancer. beat it. We were so excited. And then all of a sudden she developed lung cancer in the worst stage. It was like stage 4 already. And so only because we kind of expected it wasn't like sudden, you know what I'm saying? That we were able to kind of prepare ourselves, although nothing really prepares you to lose your mother, but um, that kind of prepared us in a way. But then also being able to bring her home and just like have her be in her home where where that her and my dad built, and then also knowing that she would be eventually be next to him, outside in front of our house, like just felt right, and yeah, I mean, we had my mom with us for years and years, and when I told her we were gonna move back to Samoa, she didn't believe me. She was just like, "No way, there's no way." And when it happened and we made it happen, she was happy. She was happy to come home, and I wanted that for her. I wanted that for her, and I knew that that was gonna be important to her. So, in our culture, how we believe the whole Kosi Makua thing, Kosi Makua, you'll get blessed. I have to say that I truly believe in that. I truly, truly believe in that. We we had the privilege of having my mom in our home to raise, my kids. Sorry. She was there when both of my kids, came home from the hospital. She was there like for everything. She was there through every event, through every, experience. And then, in that way, we were blessed. My children were blessed to have her in our home. And then when she passed, I couldn't believe, how much we were blessed. And even to this day, like I sometimes, I don't know, things come out of the woodwork with our business. The business is like flourishing. And I just keep going back to her, like, this is all going back to the Kosi Makua, like you take care of your parents, they will bless you. And I truly feel that, truly, truly feel that in our home and in our family. So, yeah.
Kudos to you for being able to balance all that. Usually, as we become mothers or wives and have a life to move on to, you are right, the greatest blessing is to be able to take care of our parents and give back the love that they've given to us and raised us in. So and in return, full circle, you are right, how they say blessings will come. So great job,
Yeah.
amazing job. So what's
Oh,
one of the
thank
lessons
you.
from your parents that you now pass on to your children?
Oh gosh. Definitely the importance of education. Neither of my parents went to college. They graduated high school and that was it. My dad went to the military, and but they just believed so much in education. And so, we all knew right after high school we were going somewhere. We were going to college somewhere. And, I'm like very proud and happy to say, like, with the four of us siblings, all of us have a degree in something. Some of us have advanced degrees too. And I give it back to my parents, like pushing that, important thing, knowing that that would be like a game changer for us in our personal lives as we got older. So I carry that into our family, and my kids know that as well. My older daughter has always known, like, I don't care what you do after high school. You don't have to go to traditional school. You can go to a trade school. You can go to cosmetology school, but you are not staying home. You have to build a skill, right? So I love that legacy. My dad passed that down to us, and then my mom so my mom is part Chinese. She's an Amu, and so growing up, she owned a business at the market. I don't know, you guys probably ate her panqueques at some point,
Yes, all the
but we
time.
yeah, well, we owned a panqueque shop at the market when I was in high school, and that lady, I tell you, we couldn't aikalafu, without paying for it. Like everything we ate had to be written down and paid for. She was she was such a stickler, nobody could eat anything for free. And we always used to tease her, like, you're so Chinese, like that is such your Chinese side. But, but she, she really demonstrated the importance of hard work. Like that lady would get up at 3 a.m. every day, open her shop, make sure everything was good to go, close up shop at 3 p.m. and do it all over again. And just the greatest example of hard work and just serving others. So, yeah, I would say those would probably be the legacies they leave with us that I try to carry on. So.
I wanted to add to, now that we're talking about the things that you learn from your parents, and I know the humility part is a big one too, as well. From um, you guys you and your husband have a volleyball team that travels, and so I know in American Samoa it's not that easy having to leave the islands to come to the U.S. It's very expensive, very costly, and so those who are out there listening, if you're tuning in, please reach out to Sisifo and her husband. They mostly sometimes the girls who can't afford to go on these trips, they pay out of their own pocket. So it'd be really nice for those who are out there to help out. Sifo, can you tell us about the girls? I mean, we have so much talent on the island and it's not being exposed enough. And if they do get exposed out there, we're talking about people breaking bank just to get them out there. So.
Yeah. Yeah, no, thank you for bringing it up. So when we were living in Utah, and Sina was just getting into sports, it started out with us getting together with some friends and building a softball club. It was a softball club for young kids, young girls. And that's kind of how I learned how to run a club. And so when Sina got older and wanted to, Sina's my older daughter, when she wanted to transition to volleyball, we started our own club because in Utah, it's so expensive, and probably where you're at too. It is so expensive to play club ball. And when you're just starting out, I don't see the value of paying $2,000 for my 12-year-old. You know what I mean? To play club ball, it just didn't make sense to me. And so, my husband played volleyball in the past, and so we're like, let's just do it. And he would coach. So him and his cousin that lives in Utah, lives in Utah right now. We got together, they coached, and I just ran the club. So we did it for our own kids, and then we brought in a bunch of kids that were like, hey, if you can't afford it or just want to join our club, then come on and join us. So that we made it affordable for people who wanted to learn the sport and to play the sport. So that was kind of my introduction to running a club of our own. And so when we decided to move here, that was one of the things that I felt bad, like leaving, was travel volleyball for my older girl, because she loved being on a travel team. And so when we got here in the fall of 2022, she started playing for Tafuna High School. And then for several different reasons, Anthony got pushed into coaching the varsity team at Tafuna. So we started, going to all the games, and I was like, there is some crazy talent here on this island, and having just like played club over the summer and in the spring of that same year, I was like, I can just picture a team out of here, compared to some of the, girls that we were playing with before. And so we started approaching parents like, hey, would you be interested in traveling? We could make it work. We could fundraise. And so we put together a club. It's called Tausala Gold. And the rest is history. We got together girls from all the high schools, from Leone to Whangaitua. We've had go with us. And our first tournament that we participated in was in Arizona at the Arizona Volleyball Festival. And they did awesome.
Mhm.
And since then, we've participated in 4 travel tournaments, just giving, girls opportunities to play on that national level. And then every time we go out, we get college coaches approach us. And so, so we keep in contact and we try to refer them out and get scholarships. And just last year in 2024, we made nonprofit. And so we've been able to get more, businesses invest because of the nonprofit status. But you're right, prior to getting the nonprofit status, this was another blessing of having our business, is that we would just sponsor the girls out of our business. If there was a girl that couldn't afford it, like we would just, we would have her come and work for the business. We'd have them come,
Oh,
even the kids
wow.
work for the business too. Like, so works for us, and then we would bring other girls to come and work for us, and then we would just sponsor them to the business. So it's just a way to, to kind of give back in that way. So, but yeah, that's
And
that's a club.
that's amazing because you're doing two things at one time, right? Like how you said your mom was right. You're giving them the opportunity to have those experiences and also building, ethics in other parts of it to know that if you want something bad enough, right, you're gonna have to do, go work for it. Work for it. So awesome. We have another comment here from Sulu.
So,
It says Sifo has the most Chinese in her hair.
oh my gosh, stop! Don't let her comment anymore, guys.
So, Sifo, what are some of the goals that you're trying to achieve this year? Since we're in the beginning of the year, what are you trying to achieve for this year?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. So I currently work for the government. I work in the energy office here locally, and I oversee several different federal grants. So one of the goals professionally would probably be to help out more agencies, just kind of learn to navigate federal grants. Um, Sorry, did I lose you guys?
No, you're good. We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. So just there's talking about gaps in knowledge, gaps in experience. That's one thing that I'm looking at, doing a little bit more of, is just helping other agencies kind of learn how to navigate federal grants and like just federal bureaucracy, basically. And then like on the volleyball front, my husband Anthony just became the coach for the Team American Samoa that's going to the mini games for the indoor volleyball for women. So yeah. So speaking of fundraising, quite a few of our Tausalago girls are on the mini games team for Team American Samoa, and so collectively with everyone else, even if they're not in our club, we're fundraising to get to Palau in the summer. So
Wow.
that's a huge deal. So yeah, I mean, if you're out there, if you own a business, and can donate, we're going to be using our 501c3 for donations. If you want to donate, I can give you a nonprofit letter to help with your taxes. But yeah, we're taking donations, and happy to give you a shout out even on our social media pages, and if it's sometimes when we get a large donation, we'll do like a jersey or a shirt with their logo for a warm up shirt, just to kind of help promote the businesses. So yeah. So if you're interested in donating, please do. It's very expensive to get to Palau, but
Yeah.
we're excited to get these girls out there. So much talent to share, and yeah, so excited for that.
Sifo, do you have like do you guys also recruit from girls in the US to play?
For the mini games,
Yes.
I think there was an opportunity to send film if you were interested in playing. I think the priority was to try to build a team off of the local girls, but it's kind of a long story, but like for the roster, you can add as many girls as you need to before you cut it down to a 12-man roster. But yeah, right now we do have a few girls from the States that are on our long man roster. So, but
Nice.
yeah, there was an opportunity.
Good.
If we asked your
Yeah.
volleyball players to describe you in one word, what would they say?
Probably determined, because honestly, I sometimes, when you're trying to plan and, put together things, get ready for a tournament, it's hard to, wrangle everybody in and get everybody focused. But somehow we make it work, and we get it done. And so they probably would say I'm determined, because I never let challenges kind of like stop us from meeting our goals. And the challenges is always money. So, I shared
Yeah.
this on our social media post several weeks back, but right after the New Year's, we were traveling to Hawaii. We just got back from Hawaii, tournament in Hawaii 2 weeks ago, and we had a couple players that hadn't paid yet, right, for their airfare, and it was getting close. And you guys know, like, if you don't pay quickly, there are no more seats on the plane.
Yeah.
So I took to social media, and I was like, hey, we have a couple of players we need sponsors for. And like, we were able to turn around and get 2 sponsors, like, quickly, some businesses that, were able to sponsor us. And so that kind of gave me the second wind, like, okay, guys, we got this. So we ended up going. We only had 7 players with us when we went. And so it was kind of, kind of risky, just because with injuries and stuff like that, with only 7 players, but we made it happen. And because of that, we were able to get some highlights, and we have several seniors that are going to be going out to college in the fall with some, scholarships. So that's
Good.
what it's all about.
Good.
That's what it was all about all, this whole time, is to get them seen and get them to get a scholarship. My husband truly believes in, like, you send a girl to college, she comes back and blesses her entire family for generations. Like, we truly believe that. So
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
So sorry, I'm so interested to know. I'm very intrigued by your story and very,
Yeah.
inspired, right? I want to know, with all of these things that you have going on, right, personally and with the business, what do you do to help set, reset or digress? Like, what do you do to help keep sane?
Yeah.
Yes.
Great question. To be honest, I do try to balance, like the spiritual side of things. I also serve in church. I serve in our young women's group in church. And so I feel like, that between that, keeping a balance between spiritual and all of this physical stuff that we're doing, but also just having someone, like, so my husband is like my best friend. So we just being able to have someone to offload on who understands, right? Because we literally go through everything together. And so he is just the best. He's the best. And so we do that for each other. And that is probably the biggest, just the biggest way that I personally kind of reset myself, kind of help to just compartmentalize everything that happens, on a day-to-day basis. But yeah, and then obviously I go to the salon. Like, I got to get my nails done. You know what I mean? Like that, like, me time is, like, so important to me. So yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Sifo, I wanted to ask, you mentioned you talk really highly, well, you talk highly of everyone, especially your
oh,
husband. How did you
yeah.
know, just for those who are out there trying to find that the right one, how did you know he was the right one for you?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. So I have a funny story. When I was at BYU, and for those of you that are, members of this church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, you know that, like, at BYU, a lot of people go there and they get married, like, quickly, and, like, they date, they get engaged, they get married so fast. And that happened to me with several roommates. Like, I had so many roommates, just like 2 months, boom, they're married. I'm like, that's crazy. I was like, that I would never do that, right? Here's me, like, I would never do that. So then I come back, I go on a mission, come back from a mission, and I'm just kind of like, okay, Heavenly Father, what is next for me? I never thought I'd get married, but now I'm here. My dad just passed away. My mom needs me here, so I'm like, I really need some direction in my life. Like, should I get married? In my prayers every day, I'm like, should I get married? And and the answer came to me in the form of a scripture, that told me, in Romans, like, if you desire something, wait for it. Just wait for it. And this was, this was in January. I just been home for about 2 months from my mission. And then in March, I met Anthony. We met at a church activity. He was visiting from Apia. He's from Apia originally, born and raised out there. He was here visiting some family, and we met at a church activity. at a church dance, and really hit it off. And then, we met in March. Still remember March 28th, we met, and then we were married in September. So, of the same year. And how did I know? Honestly, I didn't know. I didn't know him, right? I mean, how do you know someone in 6 months? We didn't know each other in that way, but what I did know was that he was a good person. You know what I mean? He had just come home from a mission, so I knew he was like an active person in my church. He treated, his mother well, and I was like, that's all I need to know for now, and we'll make the rest work. And now it's been 21 years, and he's like still my best friend. And yeah, I didn't know, but then I knew in my heart, like, this is the right one for me, and we'll figure it out later, the rest of it later. So, but yeah.
That's a good story. Do you?
Sorry, guys. My little one found me. She found me. I'm locking the door. Okay.
Okay.
So go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Lena.
Oh no, I was gonna ask, if you had 24 hours with unlimited money, what would be the first thing you would do?
With unlimited money? Oh my gosh. Okay, so with unlimited money, I would put it towards a gym. First of all, I would find a contractor, get a gym going for kids here. That would be like the number one thing for me.
Yeah.
Just because, the kids don't have places they can play here. Like, we have one place that has no AC, and that's where everybody fights to go and play, at Diwa. But like an open gym that we can call our own, that we can, run the club out of, we can do like youth services, tutoring, all that stuff. I would love that so much. So I would do that.
Nice.
Do you think the education system in Samoa needs a lot of work? Now that your kids are there, and what improvement do you think should be done?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I was actually just talking to somebody about this yesterday, and so if you're listening and you're a teacher, please don't come for me. I understand the limitations that we have here in American Samoa, but it's the public school system has really gone downhill. I don't know. I don't know statistics. I don't know data if it's worse than when we were in school, but like just my experience with taking my little one to public school, and then having to take her out and take her to a private school and seeing her thrive there. That was the comparison that I needed. And I just feel for like a lot of the kids that just kind of pass each grade level without learning what they need to learn. And it breaks my heart, because even my older one will come home and tell me, like, yes, I have people in my class that can't even read, like really read these still, and so that just breaks my heart. Like, we have high school kids that have very low reading, levels, comprehension, like all of that. And then also, math. I feel like a lot of the private schools really kind of just, they obviously flourish. They have great teachers, and, not that we don't have great teachers in the public school system here, but there is definitely something lacking. We don't have enough teachers. That's another thing. There's a shortage of teachers on the island, and so that's been a challenge. But I don't know. I honestly, it's a
It
struggle, and it's sad.
it's hard. It's tough when you
Yeah,
have you have so many talented kids there, and you have kids with
yeah,
you never know with their high IQ, or kids that are, all different types, right? But they're not
yeah,
being well taught enough or challenged. And so when they come to America, they kind of give up, or they get angry because they can't handle the curriculum in college. But in comparison with the private school, and I'm thinking, what factor could it be that it's because maybe it has to do with the money that they're getting paid, or are they just not hiring? Well, besides not having enough teacher, is it the qualifications?
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I know pay probably has a lot to do with why there's a teacher shortage. You just don't get paid enough as a teacher. unfortunately. I mean, not just here, but in the States as well, but even more so here. Like, teachers don't get paid enough. Um, just what I've seen, like with my kid going to a private school, she's just in kindergarten, but like just the curriculum, you know what I mean? Like pushing curriculum. And when you pay teachers what they deserve to be paid, which I'm pretty sure the private schools do, there's a lot more that goes into it. And so, yeah, just coming from, private or public school where it was a lot of behavioral management in the classroom. And I don't know if that's true for any other school, but for her class where she was at, that's what was happening. And so taking her out of that environment, taking her into a private school, I mean, she's like reading now, in a kindergarten.
Yeah.
So my heart goes out to our kids here because obviously not everyone can afford to go to private school. It's dang expensive. And so, yeah, I wish there were more initiatives, more that we could do, to help our kids in that area. So.
We have a comment on here from Kenale. It says, "Thank you for your insight on your journey going back home. We all want to move back, but it's so intimidating. And we're spoiled by the availability of everything 24/7 in the mainland."
Yes. So that was one thing I was telling my husband because I came here first in the summer of 22 to kind of check out our house, see what we needed to do. And then I went back and I was telling my husband, I was like, hey, first thing you need to prepare your mind for is the fact that some places still are cash only. I'm like, the convenience of like, Apple Pay and like Venmo and stuff like that. You just got to get that out of your mind. Like you just have to be okay with that. Most places take card now, which is great. Most stores, but there's other places that still cash only. You know what I mean? Obviously Amazon, Amazon and Walmart. We miss the conveniences of Amazon. But we still order on Amazon. They do ship here. If you were wondering, they do ship here. Some sellers ship here. It just takes longer. You're not going to get your overnight package, but they do come. You can also ship through Walmart. Walmart does ship here as well. It just takes a little longer, but yeah. But yeah, I totally agree with the conveniences. Definitely. So.
I'm sorry, just as a time check, I'm sure it looks like your child is there knocking.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, she's gone
But
now.
no,
I
no,
was
no,
like,
we're at time to
okay.
qualify. No,
So
I really wanted to say thank you for sharing your journey. It's very respectable. And, I appreciate the fact that you and your husband sacrifice your time and you're actually pouring your blessings and your love to our island, our community. A lot of people focus on their kids making it to college or, are very driven in that way. But the fact that you guys have opened it up to all the kids in the island, that, is an amazing thing. So much respect to you both on that. Thank you so much for doing that. We know that opportunities are very, little, right, for our kids to get off island. So in creating that, I just wanted to say thank you and thank you for sharing your journey.
yes, yes.
Thank you for having me.
Sifo, as we are towards the end of this podcast, again, just like adding to what Lena said, we were so grateful and thankful for you to be able to start our podcast in the public for everyone to hear your journey, your story that will help them. In closing, is there anything that you would like to share for all those who are out there who are undecided of their career path or moving back home to Samoa? And I think one of the biggest thing that touched me the most was, the part you talked about mothers, taking care of your parents. So, what would you like to end this podcast with?
Oh gosh. First of all, again,
Sorry.
thank you for having me on. No, you know, I never do this kind of stuff. It's hard to talk about yourself, and I'm no exception to that. But I really appreciate the opportunity to share kind of a little bit about our journey and where we came from, and what we're doing. And it's so funny every time we travel now, and we travel, back and forth to the States. I miss it. Like I miss home. I'll get homesick, and I just want to go home. So my husband laughs all the time. He's like, "You're so weird." I'm like, "No, I miss home. I miss the narrow roads and the potholes. I just miss it all. Like when I leave." So, um, But one thing I would say is one huge gap here is mental health services. So I didn't get a chance to talk about this, but um, when we moved to Utah from American Samoa in 2007, my intention was to go to graduate school. So I did. I eventually went to graduate school at the University of Utah, and I got a master's degree in social work. And then I also took the clinical exam. And so I am one of very few, probably less than five or maybe about five of us on the island that can actually do clinical work. I don't do it full time. Like I said, I've always been in government, but I always keep an active license just in case. And so when we were moving back, I was like, I think I need to get my license active. Something's telling me just to have an active license when I come home. And that's definitely been true. I worked with some friends, just doing some part-time work with a nonprofit organization that does mental health services here on the island. And so, yeah, just if you're if you're a social worker or a clinical worker or a family marriage, marriage and family therapist or a psychologist, like we need you. We need you here on the island. We need more mental health practitioners. We need more mental health services for our people. There's a lot of drug abuse here. There's a lot of domestic violence. Just a lot. There's a lot. And so, yeah, I mean, that's another way that I try to give back to the community, is just doing a little bit of part-time work on my clinical side. But yeah, we need more. We need more people. So come back and help us if that's your field. That's a huge gap here. So let me turn on the light.
Thank you so much, Sifo, for sharing that. We really appreciate you, and to everyone out there who's on the live listening in, and those who are going to be watching in. Please reach out to Sisifo and her husband in regards to also the girls who are on the volleyball team, so that they can all make it to the mini games that's going on in is it Palau in Palau,
Yes, we're
and to
going to
everyone.
Palau.
Yes. So let's make it happen. Let's support our people out there, and also all of our players who are also trying to lead to make it there. And to all of you, I end this with God bless you all, and to God be the glory, and you all have a good night.
Be
Thank
blessed.
you. Thank you, people. Thanks. Have a good night.
You're welcome.
Bye.
You too.